Hello, Star Wars and GA fans, Mort here. All right, today I'm really excited because I got something that nobody's got out there that I'm going to show you. So starting off right up here, we're going to have the 3v3 teams that I'm using. I also want to point out that being a free-to-play player, that I fully enjoy the game without putting in the dough. So there's plenty of players out there like me that aren't putting them in. I see a lot of videos with some really good content, a lot that I've learned from as well. But most of these guys are using teams that got the relics and everything else, and I'm purposely trying not to relic. I've got one relic on my best team. I believe it's a 2 relic alpha. Other than that, I'm avoiding that fully. I want to be able to give content to the regular Joe per se, because most of us are playing that way. First thing I'm going to show you here, I always wait to the last minute, as you guys know that are watching my videos. So what I did today is I went into the Galactic War, and the last team in there, sometimes they have Zetas, sometimes they don't. Today they didn't, but it was an 80k GP team with mostly synergy, and it actually made it interesting because it had Boba Fett, as you know, can be an interesting twist to a lot of teams. So I used all the combinations that I could find against that team, and I'd back out, although the last team that I had got beat ended up killing one of their guys. So, but thankfully it was when I was about done with what I was doing. And I mixed it up a little bit, and I found some interesting team compositions, but I know my lineup. I know that my General Kenobi is not really strong, so I mixed it up and didn't put him with Padme. This time I actually put him with Jedi Knight Revan. The protection built up faster for him in my lineup. And again, stage 12 of the Galactic War, and just replay it back up before you finish it. And while it might not be a natural 3v3 environment, going up against 5 guys using 3 gives you a real good feel for how good that team is going to be. And of course, you've got teams that are usually going to beat other teams, like First Order's great against Night Sisters. Maybe they're not in 3v3. So that's something that nobody really knows without fully understanding all those teams, including myself. I went through and kind of picked out my defense and also picked out my offense. And I'll go through in a minute here about how I decided how to play my current opponent. In past videos, I've showed you guys how I planned for them. And this guy was really interesting. So I think you need to stick around and see this one. All right, as you'll see, most of these are synergized. This one here with the Nest was an interesting lineup. It actually is super dominant. I plan on probably soloing with Nest and throwing in a different bounty hunter. In certain situations, it might work out to play that way, so I set it up like that because it's a really strong team, and they're synergized because they're all scoundrels. Here you'll see with Jedi Knight Revan, I put Kenobi in there. And then when you look down and see Padme, I actually put Yoda with Padme. Some people are going to disagree with that, but due to my lineup and composition and my opponent, I decided to go that route this time. Another decent lineup that turned out, which I wasn't sure because it's awful tanky, but it's a great defense, is Bastia, Mace, and Old Ben. And I see a lot of people saying the Night Sisters aren't good because Night Sisters, Phoenix, Ewoks, they're typically really good because they synergize off of all 5. This is the only lineup I found that was decent. It was Mother Talzin, Daka, and Zombie. So Zombie obviously taking the taunt, Mother's throwing up the plague, and old Doc is keeping him alive. This one here, considering I'm only a 5-star on Anakin, was a really strong lineup at 39,000. It took that team down in Galactic War pretty easily, that 5-man. The Phoenix squad, not good. Not good at all. I threw it out as a waste on defense. Resistance, I think there's actually a feed up for Finn and Poe in the same lineup. Not good. Then this Jawa lineup is actually better than it plays, but still not the greatest. And then at the bottom here, you'll see all the extras. And you'll notice I had a hard time getting Asajj in anywhere. After going through all the lineup, she just didn't fit. She's really squishy. And without some type of tank keeping them off of her, it was tough to actually fit her in. But I'm sure I could use her as cleanup somewhere with some healers. All right, so right now we're going to go in and look at my opponent. So my opponent, which I'm not even going to try to say the name, maybe I will, Nawa Alba Atijo. So if you guys have seen in the past, if you've seen my setup for GA video on how to plan for your opponent, we just don't go all offense or all defense and expect to win. Currently, I'm 36-0 in 5v5. And this 3v3 was a real change up for me. I'm looking forward to this 3v3 and seeing if I can go and defeat it in this as well with good planning. So I go ahead and click on Nau, pull up their stats. And what I found from this was this person usually just lays their team down and walks away, which is obviously a benefit to me, and also tells me that I can go in and just go all offensive. So if you look right here, we've had 4 GAs so far with a potential 12. I know because I've gotten all 12. You've got 3 promotions earned. So basically he's coming in once in a while, throwing an attack in. Offensive battles won only 13 out of 4 GAs. So you got to figure that's what, 48 rounds. 8 battle defends. So people are pretty much tearing him down. Battles earned very low. Territories defeated 5. Championship best score earned. So the way I figure is he's coming in and occasionally getting an attack in. He's probably concerned that he's got to get one attack in to get points, even though he doesn't. You just set your lineup, you get points. If I click over to his lineup, if you look at his order, Revan, Luke, R2, this is the way his teams were auto placed. He didn't even place them. So his lineups look like this: 1, 2, 3, and then starting with Darth Vader, then Yoda team, Boba Fett team. So he kind of got lucky with the order of his power. So both the Yodas and Bindo are on the same team, so they've got synergy there. The rest of the teams along the way really don't. The closest one would be Revan with Luke, and then Vader and Palpatine have some synergy. The only one that I have any concern about, honestly, is this Malbus, Chirrut, and Thrawn team that's going to be in the back. And I know they're in the back, and I'll show you why. I'm sure you guys understand this, but if you don't, let's look at it anyway. So you'll see here, they're right in order of the way they were by power. 3, 3, 3, right in order. So I know what these last 4 teams are just by going to his lineup, knowing that it auto-placed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's his first 6. Here's going to be his last 6, or last 4, sorry. So there's going to be his last 4 teams, starting with Visas, Baze, Mother, and Kajin. They don't have many teams with leadership. They got Mother, but she doesn't synergize. They got Leia, she does synergize. Yoda synergizes. Boba synergizes himself. Vader will synergize Palpatine. And then there's, of course, Revan. Real excited about this lineup, and I knew that he wasn't playing, so there was the potential, by looking at his stats, that he wasn't going to play, or he may auto-place. So I saved all my best teams to go against him. I'll give you guys a quick rundown of how I do things and plan. Okay, remember to research your opponent's squad and their fight history for an advantage. It's a huge advantage for you. Again, as a reminder, you just go into your GA, enter into there, hit event rewards, and then find your opponent and go to their stat sheet and find all their Grand Arena information right here, and it will tell you a lot. With that information, you can find out if they're greedy, and you can take advantage by using some defense and even stop them cold. So if you see they got a ton of offensive wins and very few defense, you can defend against them even by using some trickery, putting one of your best teams in the rear, so you're actually using their greediness against them. It's my favorite player to play against, honestly. Okay, another great tip that I don't think a lot of people are using: look at your top 60 versus their top 60. You got to put 30 on offense and 30 on defense. So a quick rundown of that: you go into your inventory or their inventory. It should automatically be sorted by power, but I sort it anyway to make sure. And I look at their first 60 teams. So you've got 6 in a row, so I need 10. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. His guy is 13.4. You go over and look at mine. Mine's 13.9 is my lowest guy. And then I'll sort by speed. So now they're sorted by speed. His 60th guy has got 145 speed. Mine's got 168. My team's way faster. One other thing I'll look at is I'll look at their top players. Like, these are the fastest one he's got. It looks like he is a heavily into Jedi and Rebels. So I know those are the teams that I need to concentrate on, using my best teams against them. So again, there's that tip: search speed. Where did they invest? And you may have noticed here, I've got about an hour left before I got to attack, which is a huge advantage for me, because then I get to see how many points I need. I make sure I know how many points are available for the GA, just in case I have to go in with an undersized squad. If you can, wait until the last minute to attack and know how many points are in your tier. Talking about undersized squads, Ness is a great one. I've got mine at G12 and high tenacity, and he goes well with Kira. And I don't have a good Kira, so I use Farm Boy for 45 more tenacity. Another good tip that I like to use is I use Night Sisters on defense unless I absolutely need them to knock down one of his teams. They just don't hold protection well, so you're not maximizing your points. Plus, everybody knows Night Sisters are just straight annoying. Another tip: if you've got a team that you know that they cannot take, put them up front. One of the things I'll do, I know a lot of times, because I put a lot of work into my ships, and I'm usually the underdog on characters, but once in a while I'll run into an opponent that cannot beat one of my squads, like my bugs. So I will put my ships up in the rear, my best ship, hoping or knowing that they can't beat it, and then I'll put my bugs on the lower front and allow them just to have that top front. Another good tip is, if you've got a decent squad, you can surprise them by over speeding or over modding, like maybe a 75k team. Not like Night Sisters, everybody knows they're annoying, but find a team that you've got built up, maybe like a surprising Jedi team or a Rebel team that they wouldn't have seen coming that fast. And my last tip is play stronger teams in the rear. Sometimes, depending on your matchup, it really makes sense. One of the other things it does too is if you put some mid-tier teams in the front, they may think that you went all offensive, being greedy, and they're actually using it against them. So let's say they got a 100k team and they wasted up front, then they get to the rear and realize, oh crap, I screwed up. So I've seen it happen. It works really well. Utilize that Galactic War. Fight them first battles by hand. Use that 12th phase to practice your 3v3 teams. Since we don't have an in-game arena that we can actually do that, it's the best way to do it. It's a great tip. Hope you guys appreciate it. All right, so I think you guys got some good information out of this. A way to practice your 3v3. Your lineups are unique to everybody else's, so you know your lineups, but it's also a good way to practice. So use that Galactic War on that 12th phase. If you feel like you got some good information today, please like and subscribe and help me grow. Also, if you have any video ideas, please comment below. And on Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock Central Time, Chicago time, I am on Mixer. If anybody's got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. So come see me on Mixer. All right, guys. You're awesome. Thanks.
Shut up and sit down.